and welcome to the Asylum. I'm your host, Don. With me today, as always, almost, is Jeremiah. And today, we're talking about the absolute classic that is 100 degrees below zero.
Hey, this film has John Rhys-Davies.
It does have John
That
Rhys-Davies.
sometimes mean good things. And it got a sequel.
It did. Or a prequel?
Sequel.
Sequel?
It's a sequel.
It's got a sequel. We did not watch the sequel. Normally, when we do an Asylum film that's got a sequel, we tend to try to do both of them together in order to make bigger videos and make less work for us. But this
we
time
didn't know it had a
that.
sequel. We didn't know it had a sequel until I was watching it, and then by then it was kind of too late.
Yeah, and then also I've been really busy with Hogwarts Legacy, so it's it is what it is. I got like 17 hours in so far, so it's not too bad.
So 100 Degrees Below Zero stars John Rhys-Davies and whoever the heck Jeff Fahey is, who's the dad in this one. Apparently he's in other things. Apparently he's in Alita Battle Angel and Lawnmower Man and Lost.
He did look vaguely familiar, but I couldn't place him. So that makes sense.
So this movie, I believe, is a mockbuster of The Day After Tomorrow, but it came out many years after The Day After Tomorrow. Maybe they decided 2012 came out the year before, so maybe that'd be okay. Because this came out in 2013. And it's about a chain of volcanic eruptions erupt through Europe. Enormous cloud of ash blocks out the sun, plunging the continent into a new ice age. And then there's an American couple who's trying to fly to meet their kids in Paris, who get stuck in London and have to go to Paris to meet their kids while everything's getting really cold.
Yeah.
Pretty basic story. As far as disaster films goes, I appreciate that they went basic because it helps.
Did not try to complicate it with facts,
And no, as honestly, when it comes to disaster films, the bigger and more over the top you go, and the less scientific jargon you spit out, usually the better for the film.
Yeah. Bless you.
And this film, just because I know you commented about it earlier, this film was filmed in Budapest, Hungary, except the Eiffel Tower, which is filmed in Paris.
There's no way.
The actual Eiffel Tower.
There's no way that was the actual.
The Eiffel Tower scene was filmed in Paris.
It looked so fake.
And then the military scenes was filmed in an actual, I believe, UN or what's it called? NATO base.
We need to start our own movie company. We need to start our own military company or our own movie company so that we can get the military to allow us to film. Because I don't know how the Asylum keeps getting the military to buy off on letting them film their movies. It's like, how does Uwe Boll keep getting money to make video game movies? Same question. Like, how does the Asylum, although the Asylum's catalog is umptillion times better than Uwe Boll's catalog, I'm still going with it. Uwe Boll, fight me.
Heck, In the Name of the King probably would fund like 50 Asylum movies.
Yeah, right? And it would make
Blood Rain cost as many as 20 of these.
Yeah. And it's Blood Rain way worse than.
And he probably mind washed and drugged Sir Ben Kingsley to be in that movie because I don't think he's mobile. But we're talking about a better movie.
Yeah, we're talking about 100 Degrees Below. Yeah.
Zero. Yeah.
Zero. Yeah, 100 Degrees Below Zero. Which, if you're trying to look it up on Tubi, don't put the word degrees in because that's what messed me up. It's just 100 below zero because it's a degree sign, not the word. Yeah. Anyway, so 100 below zero. So it kind of jumps locations a lot. So we've got science dude guy doing sciencey things, telling people that science is happening, and then we've got John Rhys-Davies, who is a
He's like a UN commander. He's in charge of the base. I'd say he's the base commander.
He's a colonel. He's definitely a colonel because I don't know what country that guy was from. Icelandic guy? Oh. Cannot pronounce the word colonel. He continually, over and over and over and over again, pronounced it phonetically as colonel every time. And Nobody ever corrected him. Uh, so yeah, that was a thing. So science guy doing sciencey things. Discover or there's a volcano that goes off in Iceland, I think, and it's that one causes like a chain, and another one causes along a fault line that I didn't know existed in Europe, and it causes a bunch of volcanoes to blow, and they're shooting all this ash into the air, and then we segue from that to a former military U.S. Air Force major who just got married to his new wife, and they're flying in his small plane, which I honestly don't know if you could fly from the States to London in a plane like that, but whatever. But they're flying in his small plane to London, and then they're going to go from London to France and meet his son and daughter, who is not a good actress, but maybe my new favorite Asylum actress, uh, in Paris.
Who are supposedly in
And
school in Paris.
supposedly. And then in Paris, that's our final location, we have son, daughter, random French girl, who I did they name her?
Mm, she has a name in IMDb. I think that's Anna, maybe.
Okay, so and random French girl, um, and
And at
that's it.
least they started off with actual science-ish because in history, giant volcanoes going off have in fact started like mini ice ages.
Yeah,
1800s.
and
There's very famous one, Krakatoa and stuff. Like this
and
does happen.
and massive tectonic movements along fault lines is like a geographical concern that could cause some pretty massive issues. So there's at least some
And
grounding.
Iceland does have pretty big volcanoes that have in fact gone off. Probably about the time this movie actually came out. That might have been
Yeah.
an influencer of it because I remember that volcano went off and they had to close a bunch of airports for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so
So
at least they stuck to the science there and then decided to move away.
yeah, they grounded it in science, and then they just kind of let it branch as it would. So um, the plot is exactly as Jeremiah said. It's really following dad, new wife, trying to get in touch or get to son and daughter who have the weirdest sexual tension going on between the two of them. Uh, and then it's like them, it's essentially the dad and the mom driving, and the son and the daughter traipsing through Paris in a kind of felt like a Fallout esque situation
Yeah.
where everything's
Oh,
just
and
kind of
John Rhys-Davies had promised Dad that he would get them out.
yeah,
But he promised Dad he'd get them out before Dad was just going to go there anyway. And
yes.
so, there are extras in this movie. They are Hungarian students,
Hmm.
which shows why there's not a lot of them. Um, it is 90 minutes, like pretty much everything Asylum does. Like it
Yeah,
hits 90 minutes and it's done.
Dunskies.
These siblings do have weird sexual
Really
tension,
weird sexual tension between the siblings. It
but the
is.
brother at the same time is always like there's a whole point early on where he looks at a hot French girl who keeps on showing up again, though I didn't know why she keeps showing up again because whenever like he asks her for help later to get his sister out and she just like leaves.
Ditches them.
And I was like, she gonna die. No, no, didn't die.
Yeah.
There's things like the tunnel underneath the English Channel for some reason when they're driving through it collapses, which I highly, highly doubt it's cold enough to freeze salt water that far down.
I think it was an earthquake that caused it to collapse. I
I'm
think.
not sure, but that's a worse nightmare for that. Like, there's a reason why when people are like when you go to Europe, you need to drive on English Channel. I'm like, I don't think so.
Yeah, no thanks. Thanks, but no thanks.
Um,
I lived in I lived in Newport News, Virginia, and I had to drive to the Norfolk Navy base every day, which required us to drive through the Norfolk Tunnel, and it's a just super. uncomfortable experience. And it takes forever to get through because people slow down when they go through
Hmm.
the tunnel because they're afraid the tunnel is going to collapse, which
And so
makes
going slower makes it even better.
no sense. But yeah, that's what happens. And so you end up spending way too much time in that tunnel, fearing for your life, which I work on a submarine. And I was more scared to be underwater in that tunnel than I am on a boat. But it is
So
what it
before I forget about it, I have to share a screen from this movie. So this is a cover. And when I was looking at it, my son said, "How come you're watching a movie with boobs on the cover?"
and
Let
you
me
were like,
show
why
you this
not?
picture. So 100 below zero, cold as hell, and then this is the back, and there are floating boobs above the Eiffel Tower for some reason.
For reasons,
And once you
because
see it, you can't unsee it.
it's just like the penis on the cover of Little Mermaid. Like once you see it, you never unsee it. It's
That poor
always there.
artist. That poor artist, like I did, that was not intentional, and now everyone knows me as the penis guy. But for this one, there are literally no sex scenes. There's no nipples. There's no nudity in any way. There's not even any
There's not
kissing,
even there's not even hard nipples through the clothes when it's supposed to be absurdly cold.
and there's not even any kissing, which is like you think this type of movie that end with a kiss on a helicopter or something.
Yeah,
No, nothing like
and
that.
because it's the asylum, I 100% expected the French girl and the sister to get it on because it's the asylum.
And surprisingly, especially after the last one, there's not very much death in this movie.
Yeah, right. At least
Not
not
on
really,
screen anyway.
not on
Like there's one
screen.
scene where a bunch of giant ice hailstones are falling down, which okay, they fell down for a little bit. There's a couple of scientists who or scientists I think or policemen who die. There's a bit where like soldiers are trying to stop them because they were told you need to pick up these people and take them to the military base, and they run away from the soldiers instead because they're like, no, we're gonna wait for our dad instead.
Yeah,
No, those soldiers literally did their job
yeah. The
to
soldiers
stop
weren't the
you.
bad guys. They weren't the bad guys. I loved. They do get
And so they wanted to
captured.
climb up the Eiffel Tower instead because that's way safer.
They do get captured by the one soldier, and he's going to take them to where they're taking everybody, and then they proceed to crash into a light pole at approximately 2.5 miles per hour, and the soldier dies.
Yep.
Airbag, not a fast enough collision for the airbags to
Well,
go
it
on.
is a European car. Maybe it just, killed him.
I guess. So the soldier dies. And then they break out, and that's how the French girl comes back to them again. And it's just, I don't know.
And
So,
they run into people in a tunnel who steal their jackets and decide
and
to be merciful and
their
keep their
butts.
shoes.
Yeah. Which is also not where I expected that to end.
Exactly. Yep. And for
Yeah.
some reason, very few people actually freeze to death in this movie, despite the cover being cold as hell. And yeah, but the whole
Yeah.
thing is they are trying to get to John Rhys-Davies, who's going to save them. And to put a
Because
long
they
story
have
short,
his axe.
they they do make it to John Rhys-Davies,
And they get safe.
and they fly off
Yeah.
because they crash right in front of his plane,
Yeah, they do.
and plane people are like, "Oh, we'll just go really slow on this, on
Yeah.
doing our checks." Probably because
Startups.
by then they saw it, and that at least made sense. But like why they'd wait until then? I guess he wasn't necessarily like he said if you leave at a certain time, you're going to mark that you're leaving at a certain time. I guess being the one in charge, he can do that to a point, but eventually the pilot does can override that. I'm assuming when there's safety protocols involved.
Yeah.
Like if it's going to be we're never taking off unless we take off now, which I'm surprised the plane could take off at that cold because they have to de-ice those wings, and there was no de-icer going.
No.
Unless military planes are made for automatic de-icing, but I doubt it.
Not that I know of. But I don't work on a plane, so I couldn't tell you for sure.
Self de-icing.
The ice,
And if it
please.
is really that cold, you're gonna have ice.
Well, it was cold as hell.
And so basically, Europe is freezing, but the rest of the world is not, just Europe. And
Yes.
they don't actually say how long it's going to last. They keep on saying, "What's your scenario? Oh, is that true? Oh, that looks really bad." And then sends another one. Oh, that's even worse. And it sends another one. I don't know if our one was correct. Like, what is the actual? How long are you going to be cold?
I liked that, like,
What was the
the
final
scientist,
solution for how long they're going to be cold?
was like, so my original hypothesis was incorrect. We're gathering more data because it's accelerating further than or faster than we thought it would. And then one of the random, I don't know who those people were, but one of the random people they're talking to is like, well, if your data was incorrect before, how do we know that your data is going to be correct now? And it's just like, you you realize that you people wouldn't know that his data was incorrect if he hadn't told you that he gave you incorrect data, right? Like, let's scale it back a little bit. But you know what? They're politicians, theoretically, so they don't know
Also, I find it funny that they're able to evacuate Europe in like 2 days.
anything. Yeah.
Actually,
I'd
not even two
recommend
days,
that.
like a day.
Yeah, I'd recommend that you get all people that you possibly can away from the danger areas. Okay, what are the danger areas?
Europe.
Approximately 70% of Europe and Asia. I'm like,
Where are they going?
all right. And then they take everybody from Europe, every British person from Europe, I guess.
Well,
And
that was a UN.
uh,
That was a UN base. That's notice that Johnny Rhys-Davies had a British flag on him. I'm pretty sure that was a NATO or UN base.
right, but their plan was to take them to Australia. That's where
I
they were
missed
going.
that, but probably because it
That's
was
where they
not.
were going. When they got to the plane at the end, that plane was flying to Australia. That was the plan.
That is a long fight.
That is a long flight,
But I
but
guess
you
there
know,
is a lot of space in Australia that is not used unless you want to, count the wildlife.
yeah. So
Maybe
instead
the
of having to
sequel
worry
is them
about
fighting kangaroos and giant crocodiles.
yeah, instead of having to worry about freezing to death, you just have to worry about massive spiders that will kill you and eat you. So you know, win-win.
But
But
as
yeah,
far as this
so
one goes, as far as acting goes, everything is fine.
it was so it wasn't. It didn't seem like they were reading the lines directly beforehand, which sometimes happens in Asylum movies. But on the other hand, it wasn't like well acted. So like
But I think it was simple enough that they could make it work, though.
on my usual scoring criteria for Let's Talk Spook, I would probably have given it like a 2.5 on acting. So it's like it's not bad, but it's not like super well done. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. Um, and then as far as effects, effects are fine for what they wanted. They honestly didn't overdo it, which I think helped this movie. They didn't have dinosaurs that show up for like seconds,
Yeah, right.
because
No,
they can't afford
they
them.
actually. I feel like they for an asylum film they used their budget fairly well in this film because you know the average asylum film they only have like $1 million.
It's like that Flight World War II. They
Yeah,
keep it simple and it works better.
yeah,
And
but
this
Flight
one they
World.
kept it simple and it works better.
Yeah,
It's
but Flight
nothing
World.
new. It's something we've definitely seen before, but it works. And I'll give them props because there's certain sets that we've seen in like 10 of these. Independence Day, the alien hallway. How many movies have we seen that in?
I don't even know.
Um, and so it
They,
helps that they actually went to a location. Asylum does film a lot in Europe. We know
yeah,
this. Um, and I think it helped that even if John Rhys-Davies is slumming it, this was at least it looked like he tried. Like
John Rhys-Davies definitely was the highlight of this movie. As far well, I take that back. The sister was the highlight of this movie. But John Rhys-Davies was definitely the best acting and the parts that you wanted to see the most, besides the parts that I wanted to see the most. Uh,
you wanted to
but yeah,
see certain body parts the most,
yeah.
while him you
I
actually wanted to see him in the movie.
Hey man, hopefully we get to see Jailbait next. Maybe I'll get lucky.
Oh,
Uh,
I was feeling that movie is gonna get me in trouble.
definitely is going to get you in trouble. So as I alluded to earlier, the actress that plays the sister in this movie is a an Asylum alum. She is in a significant amount of Asylum films, and
Her name is Sarah Malakul Lane.
she is
She's a
very
Thai model.
she's very fun to look at. Um, so I'm
Hey, she was
hoping
in Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse, a movie that I have definitely watched and I definitely own, and I don't remember her in it. But
um,
she is in other ones like King Arthur, which I know you've talked about wanting to see. She's in
I
one
do
called
want to see that.
Jailbait, which is going to get someone in trouble. She's in Halloween, Pussy Trap Kill Kill. Oh, that's going to get someone in trouble
That
too.
the movie we've talked about many times that I need to see, but I don't think that's an Asylum film. I think I
She's
need
in
to
some
see.
of the kickboxer movies.
She is. She's in four, I think, Vengeance, if I remember correctly, which is I think
How
the
many
one that
Jean-Claude Van Damme series have they just continued on for decades with weird sequels?
at least two.
All of
Which
them.
is if I had a nickel for every Jean Claude Van Damme series that continued on, I'd have like three nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's odd that I have three of them. But yeah, I think it's Kickboxer, Universal Soldier, and I want to say Bloodsport just kept
Possibly.
going, even
So
though
she
only the first Bloodsport had Jean Claude Van Damme in it.
she was also in Sharktopus, which you'll see eventually. She was in 12 but I blotted out that movie from my memory, so that's probably why I don't remember her in it, because apparently she's a main character, as in the main character, and I have no memory of her in that movie.
Me
Zero.
neither. Me neither, because you did me a solid and made it so I didn't have to watch it.
That creepy, creepy teleporting baby. Okay, not even creepy, just terrible teleporting baby and a cult of
Terrible.
worshiping the teleporting baby.
Well, I mean, if
But
you had a teleporting baby, wouldn't you worship it?
but I do hope all the other ones she's in are better, because Sharktopus, we're going to enjoy Sharktopus. Is there any doubt we're going to enjoy something like Sharktopus?
I mean, I didn't like Sharknado, so it is possible,
But
but
like Mega Piranha, Sharktopus, Gator, Mega Python versus Gator, when it's those
yeah,
type of movies, we tend to enjoy them more because our bar is like on the floor, and we just kind of step over it.
yes. So if it's got anything in it that's worth it, we're gonna enjoy it.
Meanwhile,
Essentially,
Independence Day,
surprisingly good. Surprisingly good.
surprisingly watchable. I also mix it in my brain with War of the Worlds 2 a lot.
Electric Boogaloo.
But this movie's fine. As far as Asylum goes, it's fine. It was really
Yeah,
easy to watch.
yeah. It's engaging enough. You'll if you put it on, you'll watch the whole thing and you won't feel like you wasted your time. However, I wouldn't
Buy it.
tell you to go and watch it. But if you
It's
know,
better than 100 million BC.
but you know, if you're just like looking to check out Sarah,
Monaco Lane, a Thai model.
yeah, if you're just looking to check out her, uh, this is
Watch
one,
Jailbait.
or watch Jailbait.
Um, it's fine. It's probably
It's,
upper middle of Asylum films,
yeah, it's not bad. It's
like Mega
um,
Fault.
yeah, it's distinctly watchable. Yeah, Megafault. It's Megafault, which is a shame that that was Brittany Murphy's last movie. Um,
Let's see what it's going to give us. It's going to give us something like Belly Fruit.
it was probably going to give us the 9/11 Commission report. That's my guess. Wheel of Asylum. Turn, turn, turn. Tell us the movie.
Ah, yes,
Yes!
supposedly the best.
Oh, I have been
Supposedly.
waiting for this one. Transmorphers, Amityville Horror, or Amityville Haunting, and King Arthur are the three that I've been wanting to see. And finally, we get
Hey,
Transmorphers.
once we watch this one, at least we can safely watch the new one that just came out, the Doomsday Apocalypse one. That is
That's true.
the giant multiverse of Asylum things all in
I,
one movie.
I feel like we should see Atlantic Rim too, because I feel like Atlantic Rim is supposed to play a pretty significant role in that. But let's go ahead and do the usual thing where we verify that there's somewhere we can watch this.
If this
If
is
there's
not
not,
watchable somewhere, I'd be shocked.
Shocked. Let's look here.
That this was available in like the $3 bin at Walmart for ages. What?
Wait, there's more than one? There's a
Yeah, there was a
sequel.
sequel. Uh-huh.
All right, so Transmorphers available on Tubi, Pluto, Plex, and Flix Fling. And the sequel, Transmorphers Fall of Men. Prequel. Um, Tubi, Pluto, and Flix Fling.
Should we watch both of them?
I feel like we should.
Okay,
I feel like we
let's do
should.
this.
I'll have to figure out how to find the time
And
while
see if this
playing.
is a Zombies experience.
Hopefully. I'll have to find the time while watching in between playing Hogwarts Legacy though. That's
Put it
gonna
on
be
your phone.
Hogwarts Legacy has cutscenes. I have to watch the
It
cutscenes.
might look better on your phone.
That's fair.
But we're watching Transmorphers next, a film that apparently is one of their best ones. So I will doubt that, but at the same time, I have seen people swear by it's their best, and I've also seen reviews that say it's a 1.6 out of 5. So we'll see.
I don't
It's
know, man. Zombies and Avengers Grimm and Shark Side of the Moon are gonna be tough to beat. I gotta say. Like, I don't know if this is the best one, but it's going up against those three all-star films. I don't
we'll
know.
see.
Sounds like a challenge.
We
Sounds
will
challenge.
see.
But on that note, tune in next week, supposedly, although this last week we put two up in the same week, so I don't know. But next week, tune in next week to check out our thoughts on Transmorphers and possibly Transmorphers Fall of Men. Okay, thanks. Bye.